Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Welcome. My name is Sarah Carlson, and I serve on the Sunday Services Committee, and I'm assisting in the worship this morning. I want to thank you all for being here today and extend a special welcome to any visitors. If you'd like more information about the fellowship, you can visit the welcome table in the fireside room or sign our virtual guest book if you are here visiting us on Zoom. And I'm not sure even if our website is working, so might have to wait if you're on Zoom. Whether you're joining us from home or if you're here in Fellowship Hall, we invite you to stay after the service for coffee fellowship, where you can introduce yourself and join in conversation with kindred spirits. So on behalf of this caring and nurturing congregation, I welcome each and every one of you into this sacred space. Here we invite you into an experience of transformation, hope, renewal, and connections, which may inspire you to understand life in new ways.
Our opening words this morning are from Robert Pirsig. Mountains should be climbed with as little effort as possible and without desire. The reality of your own nature should determine the speed. If you become restless, speed up. If you become winded, slow down. You climb the mountain in an equilibrium between restlessness and exhaustion. Then, when you're no longer thinking ahead, each footstep isn't just a means to an end, but a unique event in itself. This leaf has jagged edges. This rock looks loose. From this place, the snow is less visible, even though it is closer. These are things we should notice anyway. To live only for some future goal is shallow. It's the sides of the mountain which sustain life, not the top. And our chalice lighting is from Anatole, France. Do not try to satisfy your vanity by teaching a great many things. Awaken people's curiosity. It's enough to open minds. Do not overload them. Put there just a spark. If there is some good inflammable stuff, it will catch fire. Will you rise now in body or spirit for our opening song, number 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In.
Enter, rejoice, and come in. Our story today is Elephant Island, and it is by Leo Timmers. Arnold had always been a seafaring elephant. He considered the sea his friend. But one day, a boisterous wave sank his boat. Luckily, Arnold had a built-in snorkel. After many hours, he bumped into a tiny island. Arnold remembered an ancient mariner's poem, alone, alone, all alone, alone on a wide, wide sea. Luckily, Arnold had a trumpet. "What's the tune?" asked the fish. "SOS," said Arnold. "I'm calling for help." But no help came. Arnold had just explored his island again when his captain's hat drifted past. He put it on and immediately spotted a small ship on the horizon. The small ship was a mouseboat. Rescued at last. Well, Arnold did his best to salvage the situation. As a seafaring elephant, he knew a lot of knots. Before long, an old sea dog sailed up. Arnold stepped aboard gently. Oops, he had put his foot in it again. With a little help, he set about expanding the land. The next morning, a fishing boat approached at full steam. There was a catastrophic equipment failure. Everyone made it ashore safely. Arnold found a use for everything. By the light of the silvery moon, they danced and all night long sang whale songs. Good songs travel fast. Soon everyone was setting course for Elephant Island. Arnold was very welcoming. There's always room for one more. But one day, the sky grew dark, the wind picked up, and the sea lost its temper. All eyes looked to Arnold. Perhaps it was time to go home. "Hold fast," said Arnold. "I have a better idea." And so ends our story.
Will you join me now in a time of prayer and meditation? And our meditation this morning comes from Reverend Marta Valentin. Step into the center. Come in from the margins. I will hold you here. Don't look back or around. Feel my arms. The water is rising. I will hold you as you tremble. I will warm you. Don't look out or away. Life is in here between you and me. In this precious tiny space, no words need to be whispered. You and I, we make the circle if we choose to. Come, step in. I am waiting for you. Spirit of truth and justice, hear us as we ask that you hold the collective anxiety that permeates the world today. This is a call to arms. Arms that will hold those with broken or elated hearts. Arms that will wrap themselves around beaten bodies. battered souls, arms stronger than either giver or receiver knows, arms that keep the weight of misplaced authority and righteousness from crashing down upon those struggling to hold their heads high as each shred of dignity is yanked from their overused, underappreciated bodies. This is a call for committed arms and minds and hearts that know the facts but feel the truth. A call to remember that the freedom we've been given to swing our arms as wide and open to the sun as we like has come on the backs of human beings that others wish were invisible. This is a call to arm ourselves with the facts and feel the truth born out of the power of our love and the balance of justice. May it be so, and amen.
Ours is a welcoming community where we find connection, a spiritual community where we find meaning, a sharing community where our joys are amplified, and a caring community where our sorrows are lessened. It's a tradition in our community to take this moment, share our joys and sorrows, and acknowledge the mutual support of our community. It's a time for our arms of caring and love. So if you have a milestone this morning, I welcome you to step up to the microphone, state your name, and tell us your milestone, and I will light a candle for you. I'll light one last milestone candle for those who have spoken and for those milestones that are been left unsaid. Let's hold all these joys and sorrows in our hearts as we embrace each other as a community. We'll now have a moment of silence.
In June, I drove out to Pittsburgh to attend our Unitarian Universalist General Assembly. And on the state line, the big sign says, "Welcome to Pennsylvania, pursue your happiness." Well, this fellowship pursued a new religious educator. And today I'm happy to introduce her to you now. From Pennsylvania, Dana Paz.
Good morning. It is so nice to meet you all. Briefly, I sometimes get asked how I became a religious educator. And the truth is, about 2 decades ago, I was like a lot of parents with young children. I had spent years moving away from religion and being unchurched. And now my children were asking a lot of questions. And I realized they were lacking the knowledge and competency that they needed in that area just to navigate in today's society. So after some research, a UU church seemed to be what we were looking for, and my journey began. I helped a little in the nursery and in the elementary classes, and finally with the youth group. And that was where everything clicked for me. My first experience with the youth was a very last minute trip on a weekend-long retreat called a Youth Con, or conference, at The Mountain, a UU retreat center in Highlands, North Carolina. And I admit I left for that trip hesitantly, but what an adventure it was. I would find this group of youth to be funny, smart, thoughtful, engaged, kind, genuine, and so supportive of one another. At the end of the weekend, I came down from the mountain, and the mountain had changed me. I felt deeply called to this work, and I realized I wanted to be in community with these folks. I wanted to mentor to them, and I wanted to be mentored by them, because we both had things to teach each other. I thought about my own challenging teen years, and had I had a community like that, it would have made such a difference to me. I wanted my children to have that kind of space where they knew they were welcome and wanted and held in love. And I wanted to help create that space. So 15 years later, here I am still doing this work, and I feel so fortunate to be here in Ames. I am deeply grateful to everyone who's reached out to me so far, and I'm looking forward to meeting the rest of you, and most especially for engaging in this sacred work together. Thank you.
We will now give and receive the offering. Please know that this morning, half of the non-pledge offering will be donated to the Ames Community School District Lunch Hero Program. The program is a resource available to students across the district paying down negative balance lunch accounts. The other half of the offering will support programs here at the fellowship that make this community one of transformation. We'll pass the basket here in the fellowship hall, and for those of you at home, if you can get to the website, you can visit uufames.square.site to make your contribution today. And if you're visiting today, please know that your presence is gift enough.
Good morning, Central Iowa and beyond. My name is Reverend A.J. Galazin. I'm your interim minister, and my pronouns are he and his. We are so glad that you've joined us today, wherever you are on your spiritual, ethical, or questioning journey. You are welcome here. It is good to be back in Iowa. I had a great time at home in Wisconsin. It was time off work, but it really wasn't what you would call a vacation. It wasn't even a staycation. It was more of a reintegration with my family, doing mundane household chores, taking the poodles to the beauty shop, going to my annual doctor's appointments, catching up on small town gossip, and dodging the tourists. My home is on the National Scenic Byway next to the Apostle Islands National Lakeshore. And yes, I occasionally play tourist, hiking to waterfalls, finding beach glass, and lazing around with a cup of tea and a book. But there is also the inevitable culture shock of returning to Wisconsin. And I'm talking bugs. No matter how many times my husband told me, the bugs are really bad this year, I didn't believe him until I arrived, and they were even worse. I got 50 mosquito bites in the first 5 minutes. But also flies, ticks, and forest tent caterpillars, which we call army worms because they arrive in battalions that eat every leaf on the tree, and then sprout moths, which in turn attract more flies. I kept telling everyone I met, there are no bugs in Iowa. Can you say that with me? There are no bugs in Iowa. Paradise has its price. But I love my land in the deep woods. Whenever I return home, I work hard to maintain my trails so that I can commune with nature. And I'm always sad that so much of my work just disappears. The forest continues to reclaim its wildness. The river floods and changes course. Trees fall down and block my path. Nature is relentless. Can you say that with me? Nature is relentless. And in response, since I am part of nature, I am relentless. Can you say that with me? I am relentless. We humans think we have so much power. We have agency and opportunity and sometimes even common sense. But nature will win every time. That is what I have come to understand. Nature has time on its side. You don't get to be 4.5 billion years old without knowing a thing or two about survival. If a tree falls in the forest, does anyone really care? 20 years ago, when I first encountered my land, I discovered an unwanted guest with big teeth and a voracious appetite. All along my creeks, I found trees maimed and gouged and fallen. And then I saw the goal of this destruction, beaver dams. I was incensed. I was firmly on the side of the trees. I mourned the generations it took them to grow so high, only to be cut down as part of an evil plan. This was personal. These were my trees. I am a tree hugger. But I took no actions of violence toward the invaders. I merely showed up. I declared my presence. I was relentless. I kept coming back, and eventually the beavers left. Nature is also relentless, and the forest began to heal. For the next 19 years, I never saw another beaver. When I returned home this summer, I was surprised to discover new dams on my creek, but without the collateral damage. Beavers are only attracted to certain kinds of trees. They dislike the pine trees that remain on my land. The sticky sap gets caught in their teeth, or so I am told. But being the busy beavers that they are, they found some fallen logs more to their taste and built their dams with dead wood. The beavers and I have reached an understanding. It took almost 20 years, but they don't bother me anymore. In Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, Robert Pirsig writes, quote, "The reality of your own nature should determine the speed. If you become restless, speed up. If you become winded, slow down. You climb the mountain in an equilibrium between restlessness and exhaustion," close quote. Close your eyes for a moment and feel the wind on your face as you climb that mountain on your Harley. That is where the rubber meets the road. We are on this voyage together, you and I, and we are more than halfway along the path. We've accomplished a lot, but there's still more to do. It takes time. It takes work. And to remind everyone, and for any newcomers here today, I am your interim minister, your temporary, in-between minister, a placeholder between your former minister and your future minister, and the clock is ticking faster every minute. One of the biggest things we accomplished last year was hiring a new religious educator, Dana Poss. And Dana joins Bradley Duckstein, our dedicated, talented, gifted, and resourceful congregational administrator, as your 2 full-time staff members. I am so lucky and excited to begin this new church year with these 2 amazing colleagues. In our liberal tradition, we respect and honor individual contributions, but we understand that lasting and powerful movements are not singular achievements, but rather rely on teams. Teams do things that individuals cannot. No matter how hard I try, I can't play volleyball by myself. Reverend Marta Valentin says, "This is a call for committed arms and minds and hearts that know the facts but feel the truth. A call to remember that the freedom we've been given to swing our arms as wide and open to the sun as we like has come on the back of other human beings that some wish were invisible. Close quote. We need each other, every one of us. I read an article recently in the New York Times with the headline, "Gen X is in charge. Don't make a big deal about it," by Emma Goldberg. Quote, "The single best predictor for whether folks will succeed at work is the competence of their boss, regardless of generation. The boss is on the hook for their onboarding, their feedback, their career growth, and more. If the boss can't do these things, they're screwed," close quote. Now, due to the imprecise phraseology, I don't know if the writer is saying the boss is screwed or the employee is screwed, but I'm guessing it's both of them. Teams need leadership or they break down. And from decades of management experience, I've developed 3 practices that have served me well. The first one is simple: genuine appreciation. My goal is to be generous and sincere in expressing my thanks. I am thankful for those who work with me. There are some managers who have told me, "Why should I thank someone for doing their job? They're getting paid for it." To which I have thought, I'm glad I don't work with you. The second practice is more complex. I preach continuous quality improvement. I'm aware that it's easy to fall into routines, and we can forget about new ways of doing things. And yes, while there may be times to say, "This is good enough, let's just move on," there are also little changes that can make a big difference. And teamwork can be a way to jumpstart improvement. And that jumpstart is happening right now with adding Dana to our team. Dana, did you bring your jumper cables? Now, my third practice borders on the esoteric. I believe in feng shui. I've been inspired by the ancient Chinese philosophy, but not in a purely orthodox sense. I've developed my own agnostic, humanist, Unitarian, Universalist interpretation. I believe that we are influenced by our surroundings, and we should touch everything in our lives at least once a year, people, places, and things, and then make a decision to either keep it as it is, move it somewhere else, give it away to someone, recycle it, or get rid of it. Now, I return to you today filled with a new enthusiasm, in part because I did a massive overhaul of my own feng shui over the past month. I have a room in my home I call the pastor's study, and it suffered from benign neglect. I had bookshelves literally bending like a suspension bridge. I had unpacked boxes from my previous ministry in Texas, and I had stacks upon stacks. So one of the first things I did when I got home was to touch everything. I started moving things around. I relieved the pressure on my bookshelves. I threw out some accumulated junk, and I rearranged my permanent collections. And here's the silver lining. There's always a surprise. It never fails that that I find some amazing lost artifact hidden in the mess. When I attend to my mess, I always receive a gift, always unexpected, and sometimes very precious. The reality of your own nature should determine the speed. If you become restless, speed up. If you become winded, slow down. You climb the mountain in an equilibrium between restlessness and exhaustion. My friends, we are at the top of the mountain now. And soon we will pick up speed as we head toward finding your next minister. You have elected your search committee and entrusted them with an important mission: to put aside their own personal likes and dislikes and widen the circle of concern to include everyone in this fellowship, everyone in this community. Oh boy, everyone. Last Sunday, you commissioned the search committee and presented them with both your gratitude and responsibility. They must do their work with independence and confidentiality. Neither I, nor the board, nor anyone else can interfere in any way. Their work is sacred. And yet, you still have the final say. Congregational polity means that you choose your own leaders. Please respond promptly and truthfully to the surveys and cottage meetings. The gravity and sensitivity of this process requires exquisite timing, the utmost honesty, and yes, some unexpected surprises. The very last thing I did before leaving home and coming back to Ames was to pick my cherry trees. Cherries are ready to pick when they are plump and juicy and slip off gently. And I picked 5.5 pounds, which still left plenty for the birds. But picking cherries is not enough. Cherries need to be pitted before they are frozen. That's the messy part. The juice squirts in every direction from head to toe. And baking the pie is a sweet dream that will have to wait for another occasion. For everything there is a season, a time for every matter under heaven, a time to go into the wilderness, and a time to get back to work. May it be so, and amen. And will you rise now in body or spirit for our closing hymn 313, Oh, what a piece of work are we. Our closing words are from Anonymous. If you understand, things are just as they are. If you do not understand, things are just as they are. Go now in peace.